Hello and welcome to the new year with our Talk to the Animals series. I have to admit, this was supposed to be with Viv Adcock and myself, and she is not here right now. So I'm going to do this anyway because it was announced in a few places, and I would like to honor that. So, what have you not been willing to receive from your animals? And everything that is times a gazillion, will you just join on creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. It is, this is the clearing statement of access consciousness. Just in case you haven't heard it before, this is what allows the energy, excuse me, to go back to wherever it was created and undo it there. So it makes it a lot easier to change things for us and for our animals, because every point of view you have creates a restriction in your life. And with the restriction, you can no longer really receive. Now, one of the things that is really, really important with our animals is to know that we can receive from them. We can actually ask them to contribute to us also financially. How does that work again? Well, it's not linear. Sometimes it can be. If you are a dog breeder and you're making money from actually selling dogs, then yes, you literally can make money from your animals. But most people don't have something like that going on. Most people just have this pet because they enjoy it. They like walking their dog, they like petting their cat, they like talking with their bird, etc., etc. So most people would never think about, hey, ask your pet to contribute to you financially. What? So what if you could? What if it wasn't a big deal either? It's just an energy. And what if you actually allowed yourself to receive from that? So everything that doesn't allow you to receive from your animals, to have more money in your life, will you now please destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. And everywhere you have already decided that having animals will cost you money, especially if you have something like a horse. Everything that is times a gazillion, will you destroy and uncreate it, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. So what if you were willing to look at creating a future that includes your animal energetically in assisting you having more? So everything that doesn't allow that, will you just join on creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, perverts, and beyonds. So what if your animals contributed for you to have more money? And I keep asking that, and you might be thinking, I don't get it. What is she talking about? She's nuts. Yes, I'm nuts. And I have to say, when I asked my horse to contribute to me financially, all of a sudden I started having more money in my life. And it wasn't linear. It wasn't even something that I could really figure out, because it wasn't something that I could really go, hey, wait a minute, now I have another job or something. No, all of a sudden, more money was in my account. Please don't ask me how that happened, because it literally just was. The moment I started to ask my horse to contribute financially, that made me really be aware that, wait a minute, these animals actually understand the concept of money. They do know what money is. They know it costs money. I used to be a dog walker in Santa Barbara. And, when I got a new client, I would have a list that they had to fill in and give us some ideas what they wanted and didn't want, and emergency contacts and all that stuff. And so one of the questions on there was, if there is an emergency and I cannot reach you, do you have any kind of restriction of how much money you would spend on your animal? And most people were like, oh, no, of course, you can spend as much as it takes to basically save the animal. And this one client said, if my dog will cost more than $500 at the vet, please put it down. And I was like, oh, okay. And it was very interesting because I was a bit shocked, at the time. I didn't have any of these access tools, and I was very much more righteous than I am now about all animal stuff. I still have a few things, but it's getting better, But so anyway, I told the dog, and I said, "Did you know that if you ever cost more than $500 at the vet, you're going to be put down?" And the dog looked at me like, "Yeah." And it's funny, this client's dogs, none of the dogs he had over all the years that I was walking his dogs, there were several over all these years that I was taking care of for him, none of his dogs ever created a vet bill over $500. And I thought, this is interesting. So apparently these animals are really choosing to be with him, and they're not going to create something that will cost him more than $500 because they would like to live. So everything that brought up times a gazillion, will you just join on Creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. Oh, goodness. So, please, if you start to ask your animals to help you create, somebody is saying here that they want to go on holidays and they're looking for someone who can guard her 5 cats. Ask the cats to contribute. Ask the cats to energetically contribute. But then you also have to take some steps. You can't expect it to be just an energetic thing. You also have to take some steps, but the cats can contribute to those steps. So, for example, you can put an ad in the paper. These days, nobody reads papers anymore. What I mean with that is online somewhere, There are forums for that in your country. I am sure of it. So, and then you just go by the energy. This one, this one, this one, this one. Which one is going to actually work for my cats? And allow the cats to contribute and have a sense of what energy is it that the cats would like to have as a caretaker. And then please don't freak out in a sense that, yes, everybody that you hire will not be you. They will never be you. They will never do things your way. The most important thing is that your animals are going to be all right and that they're going to be fed, and everything else is just caveat. So if that person pets them, great. If that person, is very nice, great. But if it's just about making sure that everybody is taken care of, please, please, please allow them to be different from you. Nobody is like you, and nobody has your insanity when it comes to your pets either. So everything that is times a gazillion, will you just join on Creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. Please understand that part, because we are all insane when it comes to our animals. Can we all acknowledge that? We have crazy points of views. So everything that is times a gazillion, will you just join on Creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. And with all the years that I have been using these tools of access consciousness, it's gotten way better for me. I have dropped a lot of those points of views. I have changed a lot of points of views. And yet, there's still a few. I know it. And it's also okay for me. Now, I'm like, okay, cool. I'll change it when I change it. For right now, I know I also still have some insanities with animals and probably other places too. But we're just talking about animals today, okay? So everything that is times a gazillion, will you just join on Creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. So please know that, because it's important to also recognize when you are creating with your animals, it is a very individual thing for you. So what does it mean to really truly create with your animal? It just means that you are willing to include them energetically into the future that you would like to create, because they can contribute. We just talked about the money that could come in if you're letting them contribute to you. But it could also be other things. Really, just like everything in the future is always more about an energy. Yes, you can make plans Yes, you can take the steps to kind of fulfill your plans and all that, but still, in essence, those things are based on energy. You first have an energy before you even come up with a plan. And that is where the animals can hook in. So if you're clear on that, if you know what that is energetically, if you're not constantly wavering, oh, should I choose this or that, or what is, la la la. If you are clearer and clearer and clearer with what you're asking for in the future, then you can also ask your animals to contribute energetically to that motion. And you might be surprised how much can change when you're actually allowing them to contribute. Because again, so much we are focused on, okay, we have to get them food. We have to make sure they're taken care of. And yet we don't allow ourselves to actually truly receive them. Yes, we receive them when we pet them, when they make us laugh, when we engage with them. But what if you could receive from them 24/7? What if it wasn't just something that you did occasionally? But what if it was something that you allowed yourself to receive all the time? What would that change in your life? And these energetic flows that we have in Access, they are so potent. They can change so much for you. So I have to say, like, truly, truly, when I started to really play with that with my animals, so much changed. My cat actually, for example, taught me that when I go away on my trips, to stay connected with her energetically. And so I started putting her on my screensaver. And so every time I would see her, I would flow energy towards her. I would pull energy from her, and I would include her in what I was just doing. And it became a place where I was doing it all the time. So I didn't have to stop anymore and think about it. I just did it. And what happened then was my cat was so much more connected to me that when I came home, she would wait for me by the doorstep. Whereas before, she would hide from me when I would come home after a long trip. Why? Because I had energetically completely disconnected myself and she couldn't really recognize me. And I know she knew who I was, but energetically I had changed. And since I hadn't stayed connected with her, she had to acquaint herself with this new energy that she wasn't familiar with. And she was more of a shy cat anyway, so she wasn't one of those that cuddles you all the time. So for her to hide was the easier choice. But it didn't have to be that way. And I know that a lot of people that have animals at home, that go on a vacation or something where they're gone for a little bit longer, they all say, oh, my cat was mad at me when I came back. My dog didn't want to even look at me when I came back. And so I know he was mad at me. No, it's actually not true. You can ask them, are you mad at me? Just ask them. But I have really learned from my cat that she was never mad at me. She just really couldn't deal with the new energy that I was being. And since I didn't stay connected with her while I was gone, I was a new person. So what if you really played with this? Please try this out. There's nothing you can do wrong here. You can just make your relationship with your animal better if you're willing to receive energy from them. So you can pull energy and receive it. And you can also flow energy from you to them to connect with them. Try it the next time. Try it the next time, even when you go out shopping and your dog has to stay at home, or when you go to work and your cat is staying at home, whatever it is, play with that energy. Because the thing that we often do is we kind of go, ooh, I gotta go now. I better sneak out the door. Shh, don't tell anyone. Take the keys very quietly so the animals don't hear me taking the keys. The shoes. Maybe I'll put them on outside. We have this weird energy. We try to sneak out the door, sneaking out like, ugh. And the animals, they don't know what to do with that. They literally don't know what to do with that. They will look at that and go, what's going on here? something is really off, because we're pulling our energy out of their universe when we do that. When we put up these walls and barriers, we literally pull our energy away from them. And so they don't know how to handle that for the most part. Most animals don't do well when we're pulling our energy out. They get really nervous. Now, some animals are used to us leaving, and they know we come back and they're just sleeping and they're fine. But for some animals, it's not that easy. And these are the ones that need a little extra support. And so this can be one of those extra supports that you build in. But we were also going to talk about the creation part, but that is also based upon the energy flows. So know that these energy flows can also contribute in so many other ways, not just for you leaving the house, but to really build a future. So again, what if you were to allow your animals to contribute? And everything that doesn't allow that, will you just join on Creative, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, pool vets, and beyonds. So I hope this gave you just a little bit of something to play with today. And then hopefully next time, again with Viv at Cock. Today it was just me. She was missing somewhere. I have no idea what happened. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And what else is possible for your future with your animals and you? Bye.